Hey Bills Mafia, before we jump into today's news, let's take a second to appreciate this team. Year after year, Buffalo is right there, one of the top contenders in the NFL. But we all know making the playoffs isn't enough. The goal is simple: win a Super Bowl and bring that Lombardi trophy home to Buffalo. That's why every offseason move matters more than ever. And today we're diving into a huge decision that could impact the Bills' receiving core next season: Amari Cooper's future in Buffalo. Will he stay? Will the Bills move on? And what does this mean for the offense moving forward? Before we break it all down, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates this offseason. All right, let's get into it. When the Bills traded for Amari Cooper mid-season, the expectation was clear. He was supposed to be a difference maker for Josh Allen and this offense. And at first, there were flashes of that. But unfortunately, injuries and inconsistency completely derailed his season. Let's take a look at the numbers. 20 receptions for 297 yards and 2 touchdowns in 8 regular season games. Just 6 catches for 41 yards in 3 playoff games. That's not exactly what Bills fans were hoping for. Cooper struggled to carve out a consistent role in the offense, and once injuries hit, his impact was even further limited. NFL.com's Adam Rank summed it up perfectly. I thought the midseason trade for Cooper would be a major boost for Buffalo, but the veteran wideout couldn't find a consistent role in the offense, catching just 10 passes over his last 6 games, including the playoffs. That's a brutal stat for a guy who was expected to be a key contributor. But here's the thing. Buffalo was just 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Could a full offseason in this system help Cooper and Josh Allen develop better chemistry? Or is it time for both sides to move on? This is where things get interesting. At 30 years old, Cooper has already played for 2 teams in 2024, first with the Browns and then with Buffalo. Does he really want to uproot again and learn a whole new system? Or would he rather stay in Buffalo, build chemistry with Allen, and chase a Super Bowl with a contender? Here's where the money comes into play. Spotrac estimates Cooper's market value at $14.2 million per year. That's a lot of money for a receiver coming off an injury-riddled season. Would Buffalo be willing to pay that much to keep him? Probably not. But if offensive coordinator Joe Brady wants Cooper back, GM Brandon Beane might offer him a reduced deal. So the real question is, does Cooper want to stay and chase a ring, or does he want to test free agency for one last big payday? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, let's talk about a potential new weapon for Josh Allen, one that could come at the expense of the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know Buffalo has had some brutal playoff losses to the Chiefs over the last few years, including this year's AFC Championship game. And while Bills fans were happy to see Kansas City get crushed by the Eagles in Super Bowl alikes, that loss could actually benefit Buffalo in a big way. Here's why. The Eagles' defense exposed Kansas City's offensive line, sacking Patrick Mahomes 6 times, without even blitzing. Now, as free agency approaches, the Chiefs may need to spend big to fix their O-line, particularly to keep star guard Trey Smith. And that could mean they won't have the money to bring back wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown. Now, here's where it gets interesting. According to multiple reports, Josh Allen would love to have Hollywood Brown in Buffalo. And financially, it makes a lot of sense. Spotrac estimates Brown's market value at $8 million per year. That's a much more affordable price tag compared to Amari Cooper's $14.2 million projection. Plus, Brown brings something Buffalo desperately needs: speed. He's a true field stretcher. And with Stephon Diggs gone and Gabe Davis off to Jacksonville, Allen needs a deep threat to open up the offense. Now, let's compare these 2 receivers. On one hand, Cooper is the more polished, experienced receiver, but on the other, Brown is younger, faster, and comes at nearly half the cost. Considering Buffalo's salary cap situation, Brown might be the better option, especially if the Bills want to add multiple pieces this offseason. If you're wondering, when was the last time the Bills used the franchise tag? Well, you'd have to go all the way back to 2016 when they tagged left tackle Cordy Glenn. Since then, nothing. That's right, Brandon Beane has never used the tag in his tenure as GM. And it's not because Buffalo hasn't had good players. Instead, Beane has taken a different approach. He prefers to extend key players before free agency. He's built the roster through the draft and smart contracts. And let's be real, the franchise tag isn't cheap. But now, as free agency looms, could this be the year things change? Who could the Bills tag this offseason? As of now, the Bills have 13 players set to hit free agency. But let's be honest, only 2 names really stand out as potential franchise tag candidates. Rasul Douglas, Buffalo's best cornerback. Since arriving in Buffalo, Rasul Douglas has been an absolute playmaker. He's been the Bills' top corner for the last 2 seasons, and with Tre'Davious White coming off an injury, the Bills' secondary can't afford to lose him. The problem? Douglas is already being projected as one of the top free agent corners available. If Buffalo lets him hit the open market, teams with more cap space will be throwing money at him. Would the Bills use the tag to lock him down? Amari Cooper, the mid-season trade. That didn't click. Amari Cooper's time in Buffalo has been underwhelming. After coming over in a mid-season trade, the hope was that he could be a WR1 for Josh Allen. The reality, injuries and inconsistency hurt his production. 297 yards and 2 TDs in 8 games. Just 6 catches for 41 yards in the playoffs. If Buffalo really wanted to keep him, a long-term contract would make more sense than a tag. So if the Bills were to tag anyone, it would likely be Douglas, not Cooper. The salary cap problem. Can Buffalo even afford the tag? Here's where things get tricky. Right now, the Bills are $14 million over the cap. That's 30th in the NFL. And the franchise tag? It's not cheap. CB franchise tag cost. An $18.4 million WR franchise tag cost. $21.7 million for a team already. In cap trouble, locking up that much money in a single player would make it tough to fill other roster holes. So, if Buffalo wants to keep Rasul Douglas, they might have to get creative with a contract extension instead of a tag. All right, Bills Mafia, this is where I turn it over to you. Buffalo is so close to a Super Bowl, but the offense needs another weapon to help Josh Allen take that next step. So here's the big question. Should Buffalo bring back Amari Cooper and give him a full offseason to build chemistry with Allen? Or should they let Cooper walk and make a move for Hollywood Brown instead? Would Brown's speed be a better fit for this offense, or do the Bills need a bigger name to truly upgrade the receiver room? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single Bills update. We've got a huge offseason ahead, and I'll be here breaking it all down for you. That's it for today. Go Bills!